Call to order, City Council Chambers, special meeting, October 24th, 2024, 12 p.m. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please.
Mayor, I'd ask that we keep in our prayers the family of the late Consuelo Chelo Montalvo, the first councilwoman to serve in Laredo's history. Our prayers go out to her family during her loss, and also for the family of Dr. Pablo Arenas, the former Texas A&M International University president who also passed away recently.
All noted.
I'd also ask for the family of Chief Hurd as well.
So noted. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Honorable Mayor Dr. Victor D. Trevino,
Present.
Councilmember District 1 Gilbert Gonzalez, Councilmember District 2 Ricardo Rangel Jr.,
Present.
Councilmember District 3 Melissa Cigarroa, Councilmember District 4 Albert Torres Jr.,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ruben Gutierrez Jr.,
Present.
Councilmember District 6 Dr. Tyler King,
Here.
Councilmember District 7 Vanessa Perez, Councilmember District 8 Alisa Cigarroa. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, before we go into citizens' comments, I would like to give an update to the public. We're showing negative findings, negative results on all the water testing. And I stand here today to announce that the city of Laredo will be lifting the boil water notice. For the TCEQ, they concur with our decision. Per communication from TCEQ, which they gave us a communication based on the submitted documentation and TCEQ's knowledge of sufficient pressures, chlorine residuals, and negative bacteriological samples for the Jefferson plant, TCEQ concurs with the city lifting the remaining boil water notice for the Jefferson service area. TCEQ strongly encourages the city to continue efforts to identify and address the root cause of the E. coli maximum contaminant violation and to communicate with TCEQ concerning the status of the remaining findings. TCEQ will continue to provide the city with technical assistance as needed. And this is by Deputy Director, Water Supply Division, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ. Now, knowing that, with that being said, this is a step in the right direction. But this is the beginning for our city to start to meet the challenges of their water structure head-on. And I'm more than confident that we stand behind this effort, and I'm sure the City Council will support what needs to be done. I do want to thank the White House, who continues to work with us on the disaster relief and conversations with Small Business Administration at the federal level, SBA. I do want to thank Congressman Cuellar, Congresswoman Garcia, Governor Abbott, Senator Zaffirini, Representatives Richard Raymond and Tracy King, and TCEQ, TDEM, and especially all our EOC management and city staff that worked endless hours on this emergency. This was truly an all-hands-on-deck operation, and it shows that we can pull together as Laredons, even in times of adversity. Anything possible is possible, and anything is possible to solve. So with that, we'll go into citizens' comments. And I see that we have several citizens' comments, and just in the essence of time and for the agenda items, so we can hear from any or everyone, I would like to motion to limit the comments to 3 minutes without extensions from the council. That would be my motion. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One opposed. Motion passes.
Two opposed.
Two opposed. Motion passes.
Don't you just acknowledge, Councilmember Piedrine, they're here.
Yes, acknowledge Councilwoman, please. All right, thank you.
Mayor, before you start with citizen comments, may I make a brief comment about citizen comments?
Yes,
portion?
go ahead.
So, several people signed up for specific items. I don't know if the intention was to speak on that item once the item is called up, or if they're all gonna be called up at the same time. And I guess you can ask them as the names are called out.
All right, we have,
So, for example, this one signed up for number 7, so we'd have to ask if she wants to speak now or wait till the item comes up.
all right, Kayla Sanchez. You want to speak as in a group or?
No, it's now or in the item?
Now we're in the item,
Agenda item.
on the agenda item.
So, same.
Okay. Valentin Ruiz,
Agenda item.
agenda item.
And then these, right.
All right, and Tania Benavides,
I'll speak in public comment.
Right now.
right now. Go ahead, please.
So put this way. Not the one chief.
Hi, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Tania Benavides, and I'm here as a concerned citizen, really just asking that you meet the moment to not just clean up our water, but clean up this house. You are calling a special meeting to replace the regularly scheduled council business that you canceled at another special meeting on October 1st, a Tuesday at noon, under the farce of campaign season and getting out the vote when we cannot, in good faith, get out the vote if there is no public trust. You have called another emergency ordinance last night, no less than 14 hours ago, and now we are supposed to sit here and believe that our water is good and drinkable? I have spoken to an informant from the state task force, and I know, because of the information that they provided and confidentiality, that E. coli has been popping up in our water, maybe not consistently, but there's been a pattern since 2022. We know that state regulations state that you do not have to take action if E. coli only pops up in one sample one time. And if the next time that sample is tested, the E. coli is gone, you don't have to take action. But someone at the city should have gone, why is E. coli popping up in our water to begin with? And how are we going to say we're going to provide this free chlorine, this conversion, we're going to erase all evidence of E. coli that has been popping out, just so that we can get back to business as usual, when you stood here no less than a month ago and canceled business as usual? Now, we are all here because of this first agenda item where you're about to award a $200,000 contract for 6 months to replace our interim utilities director, when that was something that was clearly drafted based on what's attached on the agenda, September 19th, 2024. 3 days after you sat here and you voted for yourself for a raise. You did not have in mind making this swift action to hire an interim utilities director. And now we're supposed to believe that this is your top priority? And we're supposed to trust you? We're supposed to go out and vote for you again, some of you? We need to name the culture that is being created by this council and that is being upheld by city management. Because it is not one that is going to build on public trust. You cannot take us on this roller coaster. It's our life. It's our basic human right to have clean and safe drinking water. And anything below that is simply unconscionable and unacceptable. You need to do better, and you need to be more consistent. You yourselves are fostering the misinformation, calling an emergency
Mayor, 3
order,
minutes.
going and drinking water from the water faucet at the Calton Library. And now, again, another emergency order. Now our water is clean. Which one is it?
Thank you very much.
Figure it out.
Thank you for your comments. Olivia Martinez.
She's ready?
She's gonna wait for that. Susan Marty King. Marty, sorry. What's your, I can pronounce your last name.
Yeah, I'm more on the, Susan Moody Kwani.
Marty Kwan.
I'd like to agree with the idea of refunding. Here?
Center, ma'am. Right there.
Okay. I'd like to, agree with refunding some money to the businesses for their water bill. The price of gold has almost doubled. And that means actually that the value of the dollar has dropped by 50% during the Biden administration. Today is the first day that the government has spent more on interest on the federal debt than they spend on the Department of Defense. We're in a desperate situation economically in this country. I'm sure some of you know about the petrodollar. No, nobody knows what the petrodollar is. Well, tomorrow is a meeting for the BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China, creating an alternative system to do business. They've established an alternative to the SWIFT system to do international transactions. So this is going to affect Laredo because so many international transactions go through here. And when they release that in the next couple days, you're going to see the value of the dollar plummet. So anything you can do to save money, to help businesses, to create jobs is going to be to the benefit of everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you. Hilda Rodriguez.
The item, she says.
Okay, item. Jesse Herrera. You want to speak up right now or till the item?
Okay. He's gonna speak right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Con su permiso. Some call me a poet, some call me the dude, but I've always been Jesse G. Herrera. Anything you might have heard about me is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the guilty. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Martin Luther King. Even though I live in District 6, I would like to be heard as a voice of the people, of the Laredoans who agree with me. The word transparency is flung around these days as a campaign promise. Once a candidate or elected official gets into office, their transparency goes opaque. Where is their promised transparency? And in relation to the current water borough, where is the transparency? Yes, the taxpayers have been receiving the daily penning lipstick on the Taquache press conferences. But when you got everyone and everything from ABC to TTEQ to XYZ, how many mayors and city councils does it take to screw in a light bulb? Where is the transparency of the catastrophe? What is the timeline of how events deteriorated to where, out of the blue, a citywide water bore was issued at approximately 7 p.m. Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Why didn't any bells or whistles go off prior? While we didn't get hit by a hurricane or act of God, we did get hit by pilot error, asleep at the wheel, to err is human, and the whole shebang, citywide water borough. Also, it blows my mind. This so-called pay-raise certain city of Laredo city council persons have unilaterally chosen to bestow upon themselves. Might as well pin a Medal of Honor, or what the heck, pin a Purple Heart on yourselves. Have you no shame? Have you no code of ethics you live by? Have you no standards? Have you no God? Have you no conscience? With such low-handed tactics, it's like saying, we don't need no stinking elections. No wonder people don't vote. They are disheartened. They are let down again and again and again by the promises, by the men and women who promised the people they would do better than their predecessors. Where is the leadership? Where is the example? Most of all, where is the integrity, that quality of character to do the right thing even when no one is looking over your shoulder? Even if the people would never know or never knew, do the right thing. These shenanigans being carried out in open, giving the air legitimacy, when in fact it's nothing more than neutered dogs in heat doing the birds and bees on Houston Street. What's with all the gaslighting of America, from Trump and Vance's preposterous accusation of man bites dog to Laredo's gravy train gang, their pockets so stuffed with cash, their pockets are bulging like a bloated roadkill. I smell a taquache on Zapata Highway or triple-digit heat. There is no need to look for...
Time is up, please. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Rafael Flores.
Right now. Who wants to speak now?
Okay, go ahead. Oh,
Mayor, I realize that the motion was made and has already been passed, but the people deserve the time to talk, and we should allow it.
Good afternoon, my name is Rafael Flores, and I was coming here to make a simple suggestion. I'm sure you all heard of reverse 911. That's a system that could have been used to notify us of the boil water notice. And I just found out today that there's something supposedly similar or better called iPaws, P-A-W-S, like, you know, the paws on a cat or a dog. And that it's been used in the past, and like I told Chief Hurd that handles this, it's been used in the past, yet I never gotten a notification about heat-related incidents this past summer or the summer before. So it appears like there's another system besides the water mess that needs to be fixed. Social media for communicating these type of emergencies is too much like 18th century, 19th century, so that's my 2 cents worth, and hopefully whatever emergency comes up next can be done a little bit better than this. Thank you.
thank you. Luz Maria Valdez. Item. Monica Martinez.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Monica Martinez. I am the Executive Director of the Laredo Chamber of Commerce. Joining me is our Chairwoman of the Board, Sandra Mendiola Alanis. The Laredo Chamber of Commerce recognizes the challenges that our local small businesses are facing due to the ongoing water boil notice. We are committed to standing by our business community and offering every possible support during this difficult time. Access to clean water is essential for businesses to be able to operate. They cannot operate without clean water, particularly for those in the food and beverage industry and the hospitality industry, which we have noticed have been the most impacted. We understand the additional burden that this places on them. As a result, we are currently collecting data in conjunction with the Texas Center for Border Economic Enterprise and Development at TAMIU. We encourage all businesses to participate in this study so that we may collect accurate and meaningful data on the economic impact of the boil water notice. Our members are dedicating valuable time to participating in this survey. We just sent the survey on Friday, and in 3 days, we have some preliminary numbers that show that the impact could already be into the millions. We encourage all businesses to follow the city's safety guidelines, including the boil notice, to ensure the well-being of their customers and staff. To alleviate the pressure on small businesses, the Chamber is committed to coordinating with local authorities, service providers, and community providers and partners to provide resources and up-to-date information on safety measures, alternative water sources, and operational best practice during this period. We do thank the efforts and the collaboration of the City of Laredo Economic Development Department that worked together with us to develop that survey that we hope to continue to collect data that will help aid in the relief that we expect. We also exhort our city and elected officials to commit themselves to focusing on infrastructure in the course of the next few years. We want to urge our council to work with us to develop a relief package for our businesses who have been tirelessly working to still continue to operate during this last week. Again, as I mentioned, our preliminary numbers already show that the losses in our community could be well into the millions. This is an opportunity for improvement, and in this adverse situation, we can learn, pivot, and change. We encourage customers in the city of Laredo to continue to support their favorite local businesses, and please be patient with our business owners as they adapt to these circumstances. By working together as a community, we can overcome these challenges and ensure the continued success and vitality of Laredo's small businesses. And again, we just want to emphasize that we are here to work with you, but we do want to find a solution to help our small businesses continue to operate. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Macias. Item. Michelle Segovia. No. Gabriela Tolentino. Item.
Amanda Martinez.
Amanda Martinez. Item. Okay. Jose Obandos.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Jose Obando, and I want to speak about the issue that we're currently having. You left us 12 days without water, and I have some suggestions. I'd like to talk about at least 4 of them, if time permits, because I know that not you're suppressing our right to speak here before you and to grieve our government. I think that we need more transparency coming from you. We need a lot of transparency coming from the city, because we heard one thing, then we heard another, that it was a truck that connected to the city line. Then we heard that it was a water softener. That I don't know how many lines, illegal lines, were tapping into the city water. Tappings of illegal water happen in all cities, but they don't have the problem that we're having. They're not in an emergency situation as we are right now. And I wish we had more information, that you were more forthcoming, and you would give us information as to, excuse me, as to who knew what and when. And when they had that information, what did they do with that information? Up until today, we don't know. And that takes me to the second issue, and that is accountability. You have been reactive rather than proactive. And we knew the situation was coming. I mean, we've had boil notices for many years. We know the infrastructure is failing. We knew this situation was coming. How did we mismanage this emergency so badly? Because it was very badly managed. You left us 12 days without water. Think about that. And that takes me to the third issue, and that is that we need a permanent solution to a permanent problem. I personally feel that you're just going to put a Band-Aid and get over the hump of the elections, and then we're going to go back to business as usual. We can't afford business as usual. We can't afford business as usual. And if I were in city council, I would be advocating that we have a task force or a committee formed by people that know what they're doing, that have experience in this area, civil engineers, water management specialists, or even input from the community if need be. And that takes me to this fourth issue, and that's to the community. I invite everyone to come to these notices and speak out, even if they're violating our right not to be able to speak to our government, and they're suppressing our right to speak. It's important that we come and put public pressure, because public pressure makes change, and we need change. We can't afford the business as usual anymore. And I just want to leave with, my last words are going to be that you left us without water for 12 days.
Thank you. José Sergio Dorantes.
Buenas tardes, no hablo español. Me imagino que todos hablan español, ¿verdad?
Todos.
Vengo a este problema, ya basta que suben los precios del agua. La regidora no se ha presentado en las juntas, lo que hemos visto. Necesitamos una persona que de veras esté en este precinto, que no suban los precios ustedes al agua, porque hay mucha gente pobre que no se lo merece. Ustedes reciben buen sueldo, porque así es. Disculpen que los señale, pero la gente pobre no recibe el sueldo como ustedes. No es justo que ustedes suban el precio del agua. Mucha gente no lo usa y se abusan. Los inspectores del agua también. Ya basta de esos abusos, señores. Abran los ojos. ¿Quieren hundir a Laredo? Lo van a hundir. Mucha gente corrupta. No les digo a ustedes. Si les cupo les hago, se lo pueden poner. Mucha gente corrupta. A hundirse Laredo, se va a quedar aquí el pobre. El rico se va. Se va a otro país. ¿Por qué? Porque tienen dinero. Abran los ojos, tóquense el corazón con la gente pobre. ¿Qué es justo que no suban el precio del agua? ¿Quieren subirse el precio del agua a la gente pobre para tapar el hoyo que se gastaron el dinero? No, señores, ya basta de esos problemas con ustedes. No la va a llevar la gente pobre. Y abran los ojos ustedes, regidores, porque así es, tienen buen sueldo. Se acaban de subir el sueldo. Y de aquí quieren agarrar más al pobre, subir los impuestos, subir el agua. No, señores, a eso vengo yo a decirles, porque no hay un regidor que hable la verdad, lo que es para un pobre. Quieren todo para el rico. No, como las cosas. Ahí está la regidora. Discúlpeme que la señale. No vino a los debates. ¿Por qué? Porque tiene vergüenza. No quiso dar la palabra para que diga cómo está su precinto. No, señores, abran los ojos. Nomás les pido, por favor, que abran los ojos con el pobre. No se abusen del pobre. No suban el agua. Suban otra cosa, no el agua. Es donde necesita el pobre el agua. Es todo lo que les pido. Que abran los ojos y toquen el corazón y no sean abusivos. Muchas gracias por ponerme atención.
Gracias. Luxana Guerra. Not here. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Roman numeral number 5, appointments 1 through 6, as described in the agenda.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, item 1 is a consent item, but I did notice that there's also an item under your sponsorship, so
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to take both items from consent agenda number 1 and from 3A3 and 3A4 together.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So we're at item 1 under consent, which is this one.
Okay.
And Ms. Teniente is gonna present.
All right, go ahead.
Number 5 is also part of that.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 1. It was a motion.
All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Linda Teniente, the Human Resources Director. So what we have here is the presentation on the SGR for Executive Utilities Director. Just a little bit of background for you. The Strategic Government Resources, otherwise known as SGR, has been incorporated in Texas since 2002 with a mission to facilitate innovative leadership in local government. SGR exists to hold local governments to be more successful by recruiting, assessing, and developing innovative, collaborative, authentic leaders. It is a full-service firm specialized in executive recruitment, interim placements, online training, on-site training, leadership development, psychometric assessments, strategic visioning, retreats, one-on-one employee coaching, and other consulting services. The City of Laredo has been engaged in professional executive consulting services with SGR with the Elected Officials Training 2002, City Manager, Financial Services, Police Chief recruitments. The city of Laredo, when we started to meet with SGR, there was also some metrics and some goals that were established in there. There is the day-to-day operations also to continue, the operational management metrics, strategic improvement metrics, infrastructure and system improvement metrics, leadership and communication metrics, contract and vendor control metrics, and risk management and plant and staff metrics. These were items that were discussed with SGR in locating a consultant come in and work with the city. So the timeline of the engagement. So we started this engagement with SGR since September 4th of 2024. The city of Laredo contacted SGR to begin the Executive Utilities Director search. On September the 9th, SGR provided a candidate's name to the city of Laredo. On September the 17th, Walter Fisher met with city manager, assistant city managers, and the human resources director. He also met with utility staff and toured several of the utilities administration and water plants. By September the 15th, Mr. Walter expressed an interest in and an agreement to engage and provide a tentative arrival date for the city of Laredo. We have an October 22nd as a tentative date for Mr. Walter. He's also known as Buzz. He's scheduled to begin his assignment on the day-to-day operations and also to provide consulting services for the city. So a little bit of background on Walter, what we found out. He has over 33 years' experience. He's a highly accomplished visionary and a proven track record of success in optimizing and streamlining organizations while providing improved services and financial results. He is an experienced leader. He is a communicator, mentor, team builder, and a negotiator. His education as such. He has a 1992 executive MBA from the University of Illinois. He also has earned in 1986 his BS and BA cum laude in operations and production management from the Ohio State University. He holds professional titles as senior executive, corporate officer, and management expert. His most recent assignment, the reason that he's coming in until October 22nd, he was finalizing a consulting service for the city of Amarillo and also working with his enterprise company, and also he holds a public water solutions as a chairman as his background. This is what we have as far as information on Mr. Fishker. I can't pronounce it. Do you have any
Mayor,
questions?
may I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
So there's a question for Gwen. So I'm assuming we're only approving the actual consultant agreement because it exceeds the $50,000, right? As it pertains to the individual, I just want to make sure council does not vote on anything that would be contrary to what charter allows us to do. And the utilities director position is not a position that must be conformed by this council. So I just want to caution the council that we vote on whether or not we're going to allow the city manager to enter into this consultant agreement, right? And not get into the details of appointing the interim director, right? Or even make a vote on that, I would assume, because it would be a potential overreach on the charter, right? Is that accurate?
That's accurate. There's no need to vote, for council to vote on the interim.
So we would only vote to approve item 1 and take no action on items 4 and 5 from the mayor's request, correct?
Well, it is a package deal as far as his duties here. That's what the city manager is bringing forth to you.
Okay.
These are the duties, and this is the justification for the amount of the contract.
So for purposes of discussion, I'm going to make a motion that we approve item 1 under the Human Resources Director to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with SGR for professional executive consulting services not exceeding $200,000 for a duration of 6 months.
I'll second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
A couple of questions, Mr. Neff, specifically to this. When this gentleman comes into the city of Laredo, will he have full reign as far as staff is concerned, primarily because of what's happening now? So, once the results come back and we find somebody was culpable for this, will he have free reign as far as terminating staff if we should need to? And once this finger is pointed and we find out what the culprit was, and if it was human error, as I mentioned earlier, we've been going through this for 12 days, and it's something that we simply can't stand for and we simply can't be dealing with over and over again. will this gentleman have free reign as far as staff is concerned, or does it need to come through your office? What is his capability when he comes into it?
Certainly, and Mayor and City Council and Mayor Pro Tem, thank you for that question, because I want to lay a little bit more information on top of what's already been presented by HR. So we started looking at the utility department over almost a year ago within this thing. We've all talked here in our meetings about the things that we think the utility department can do better and all of that. So we've been working on this a long time. Where we're at now today, and this actually started long before the boil water notice even materialized, and so we've been working on this. The best way I can explain this so that everybody kind of understands what we're asking to do is very similar to when Detroit went through its financial issues, where the state comes in and sets a receivership over the top of the city, and they says, make it work the way it is. So we have established this process. So Mr. Pisker, his job will be as an interim, what I would call the executive director, not necessarily a director. He has two responsibilities on there. One is to operate the day-to-day operations underneath the auspices of the city management side right now. So we're operating without a charter-driven director in that method. We believe that oversight needs to happen in order to make those adjustments. So the quick response to your question is that yes, day-to-day operations, if we find anything associated with the culpability of this boiled water notice, we will be able to take those actions through our processes within the employment structure. The second part of what this gentleman is going to bring to us is the consultant side. And Ms. Teniente covered those metric systems within there. When we review the utility, we want to make sure that those are those conditions that are met or exceeded and bring the utility level performance up to those metrics. So he will be providing a consultant report. It'll be on a monthly basis, but essentially the full report will come out in 6 months. If we have to adjust the department very, very drastically, or if we have to just nudge the department in a different way and make sure we have all the right people in the right places and everything, that's what the metric system, that's what the consultant portion of this. So we are looking at essentially hiring a director, an interim director for now, to help us walk through the system itself, and then also the consultant side of that. We within the system, because we liken it to the receivership kind of mentality, he will be able to take every action necessary in order to move forward. It's just city management wanted to keep their hands on it to make sure that they are, it is all indicative to the rules and the procedures that the council has set up, saying this is how we treat our employment. And I will tell you just really briefly, really quickly, been very happy with our staff. We have a lot of great people out there. You saw them come out of the woodwork in order to help us through this emergency. I think it's just the direction of how to help get them to help. And so through your vision and everything else, this is why we've come with this model and trying to bring it forward, is to not wait any longer and to reset our operational structure, along with the conversations we'll have today about the capital and all the other work. So really quickly, they have full autonomy in order to do the job of a director underneath the auspices of the city management office.
Just to follow up, Mayor.
Go ahead.
The other question that keeps coming up is, of course, transparency. The public wants transparency. Believe me, I do too, because I don't have answers. I wish we had the answers, because then we could put them out to the public. They need to understand that. I don't know, and I won't say we, because I don't know, some may, but I don't know what the answers are. What happened to our system? Do we have an idea where and why this kept coming up over and over again, as far as E. coli coming up and high bacteria?
Yeah, Mayor and City Council, and there will be a bigger, a broader report coming forth to you. We're hoping to give the first report next Monday on the October 28th council meeting. Our focus has been directly on the emergency at hand. And so as we've evolved throughout the last 10-day period, We've adjusted our strategy. I think the broad level of this thing, the planning is that, and I think Mr. Landine had said it at one of our press conferences as well too. It was going to be in the disinfectant within our system and all of that. What we are seeing is, and I have to say a little bit more here. So 4 years ago, we had a boil water notice 4 years ago, and it was based upon the condition of our plants. The council at that point in time started to make corrections within our system. Just so you know, and we've said it more than once, the water coming out of our plants is excellent quality. That water is in great shape when it gets into our system. What happens is that our system is 900 miles of lines. We have two water treatment plants. We have the wastewater treatment side as well too. It's a very big operation. And so over the course of time, we've lost little legs of this, and I think the council started addressing that 4 years ago with the plant improvements of what was done. We are now into this distribution side, and I wish I could say that boil water order notices can be eliminated and never happen again, but that's not the way the system works. And what we were able to discover during this one is that it was external impact to our system. And that's where we found the illegal connections. That's where we find the cross connection. It could have been something very, very basic, but this is something that progresses over the years. And I think that's where, for the easy way to kind of answer this is that it's a detective system. For the last 10 days, it's been detective work. We start with the broadest level and we say, this is how we're going to respond to it. And then we go to the next thing, and then we go to the next thing. And I can't tell you how much I thank the mayor and the city council for all of your help as well too, and staff, everybody helped. And there's too many people to name nowadays. But we've focused on that. So the whole intent of this thing is that it is the external things that happen. It could have been a main break, it could have been a cross connection, it could have been an illegal tap. All of those things can contribute to what this issue is. Now that we're out of the boil water notice, now that it's been released by the mayor, I'd say our work now begins completely. Right. Our work now goes, how can we make it better? And I think that's what you're hearing from our public as well too, is that what are we doing? What are the steps are we doing in order to say, can we eliminate this? I don't know if we can ever eliminate, that'd be an absolute that I can't commit to. But I can tell you that everybody that has worked us through this thing are committed to making sure that we move forward better than we did in the past. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Who was next? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, at the end of the day, we're talking some of these pipes 50, 70 years old. And obviously, it'd be very easy for a council where 8 of us are in our first term, 8 out of 9 of us in our first term, 5 out of 9 of us in the first 2 years. It'd be very easy just to point the finger at the past. And for a city manager in his first year and a half, to point the finger at the past. But at the end of the day, the buck is going to stop with all of us up here. We're in the role now, and we have to take action. And over the last 5 years, to be fair, this council, previous councils and this one, have put $250 million towards water and sewer through various bonded projects. But I'll take us back to budget this year in August. We spent 3 to 4 hours discussing third-party funding. And that $300,000 that we gave towards third-party funding and nonprofits. We spent about 5 minutes on the CIP of the utility bond, the $94 million that we just sold this year for fiscal year 24-25. We brushed right over it. We asked a few questions and we just went right on. So I think the point is, this is not a wake-up call. We've known. All of us that ran in 2022, we knew. This is the 8th water bill notice since 2019. Anybody who ran in 2020 knew as well. So we all, and I'll put myself here, we all have to refocus. We all have to make sure that we are not letting us go back to business as usual, as said, because for a while there, because this was the first, there was a technically small one in July of 23 last year, but first significant water bill, major citywide water bill notice of those of us who were elected in 2022. And so for a while there, I think there was a sense of complacency that things were getting better and okay, but we all knew right below our feet all these pipes were still old. And, you know, we've put $60 million towards water pipe, but 30 million of that 60 million went to just one pipe. And that's the 36-inch pipe from 2 years ago. So in February 2022, the pipe that broke, we just had the groundbreaking for in May of 2024. So, and that's not just an indictment on the city of Laredo, because government works slow in every city, state, federal. Government is excruciatingly and annoyingly slow getting things done. But we have to do better, and we have to do a better job of showing the people what we are doing. We have to stop thinking our people can't handle facts and details and information. Our people are smart. Our people can handle it. Let's give it to them. I think we're actually doing some good things, but they don't know about it. We're not telling them well enough. And so we just have to it's not a wake-up call. We've all known about this. We just have to refocus, everybody get on the same page. And I'm getting my point to you, Mr. Neb. You started in February, March of 23? March, roughly?
February,
okay.
yep.
You know, and I went back to articles from 22 when our previous utility director, who I respect and thank him for his service, but there were concerns even back then that maybe he dropped the ball in not training our utility staff that TCEQ recommended. And, you know, so I'm surprised he actually survived that, you know, under the previous administration. You came in, it took you a year and a half to set this in forward. I know some things happened, but since there were these concerns, and Mr. Chavez, our interim utility director, has already found a bunch of things that should have been done that weren't done. You know, perhaps Mr. Chavez should have been the utility director for the last year and a half. I'd like to know what took you so long to realize a change needed to be made, because I do want to give you credit. You did make this change in place before this water bill notice. I want the public to be aware of that. All this with this interim utility director has nothing to do with the water bill notice. This was set in place. Ironically, we got the email from you 5 days before the water bill notice. We got it on October 5th, water bill notice October 10th. And I applauded you for being proactive, although I think it could have been sooner. Take us into, before we vote on this, tell us why, what was this, why did you finally decide, and I say the word finally, understanding it's a year and a half. Why September, early October for you to pull the trigger?
Mayor and City Council member, to you it feels like it just happened. But I've been very open about this in my year and a half. My job when I came in here is to evaluate all of our people, all of our processes, and salvage every one of them, because I believe that 8 city managers in 8 years, the stability of this office has an impact on how our people respond to anything that is happening out there. And I'm rather than to say you're not able to do your job, I'm going to find out whether or not they have all the tools to do the job. And so this takes a little bit of time through that. And I'm not going to go into it because there's a lot of different personnel conversations that this can allude to. I can tell you that the city manager's office has been working with utilities from day one since we came in order to make these adjustments. Every one of the concerns, every one of the complaints from the city council have been addressed and tried to find out exactly which way to go with any of these items that are out there. We come, but it's a progression. It's a systemic kind of process that we walk through this. If we can't get the resolution in this way, we have to now go to the next. And this, again, it's just like the work going through the boil water notice. It is a detective work. We try this. All right, it didn't work. We go to the next thing. But I've committed to our employees. We have over 3,000 employees. We have 3,000 positions. I have all of you. I have all you. The number of you that are new into the city council as well too. But my commitment was we're going to salvage everybody that can provide a benefit to our community, our organization, and we're going to. What'll happen is that the ones that we can't make it work. A decision system makes the decision, and we move forward with that. We've not, none of this stuff is ever done without the respect of the employee, because generally, I believe that it was more of an inherent management issue where we didn't have the stability, so our employees did not know what to do. And some of the stuff that I'm learning as we go, that stability is very, very important to the Laredo organization. And I think that's where we're trying to bring that. And I think that's where this whole balance, even within the Boyle order notice and all this process, is to maintain that stability. We'll never be able to get out enough information, but we are trying to put as much information out there as we can. And that's where we're at with this thing as well too. Since day one, we've been working on this one, and it becomes a prioritization as to which ones can we take care of and which ones can we keep nudging through that. And this conversation happens a lot on the city manager's office. How do we salvage this individual? Is it training? Can we send them away? Or are they just not in the right jobs, and where they need to be? And so that's been my stance, and that's been my position, is that we're a community of 300,000 people. We're an organization of 3,000 employees. We all live here. This is our home, and so in my mind, that strength of that commitment and that spirit is what we're trying to salvage. And we'll train the individuals if they need to be built up. And I guess so. That's my response to that. We've been working on this since day one. I won't get into the nitty gritty of all of that, because I want to keep you all focused as well too, to help me establish the procedures and the rules and the laws in order to help me move our people the right way. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I'd like to associate myself with Councilmember King's remarks on us being more transparent about the work that's being done at the Utilities Department. We have known for a long time that there were issues. There has been investment in new infrastructure and new planning for it, and we need to be more transparent with the public about our aging infrastructure and what that means. But this emergency has been qualitatively different because it is E. coli. We had indications since 2022 that perhaps there was something in the system, and yet our system failed us because we didn't do the investigations necessary then to try to prevent what occurred just recently. Ms. Teniente, would you be able to bring up again the performance metrics that you put up for this new consultant that we're looking to hire? While you're doing that, I also want to just comment on the fact of why we're here now at a special called meeting, also at a time when most people are working and not a regularly scheduled meeting like we've had in the past. This day was supposed to be regular city business, and we would have had a 5:30 meeting, which is more available to the public. And I do not agree with our decision to cancel the October meetings in favor of one at the end of the month for electioneering purposes, no matter what kind of electioneering, and ignoring important city business. We could have had this utilities director discussion at the earlier part of this month, maybe set in place some different standards. I don't believe it would have prevented this boil water notice, but it would have set the stage in a different way for what we have subsequently gone through. When I look at the City of Laredo performance metrics and operational, I think it's guidelines, these look like metrics that should be in place for any utilities director and the current operation of the department. So the fact that we're putting it on a consultant now to come in and give us a review, in my mind, we're going to spend a chunk of money on a performance consultant when this is something that a utilities director should be doing all along. And I don't understand the focus of getting a consultant when we need a director. I don't understand why, if these were the issues that we saw, why we weren't addressing them all along. And this goes back to what Councilmember King was saying, is that issues have come up in the past. And we've been looking for these metrics, and it takes a boil water notice for us to get serious about them. And that's just not fair to the public. This needs to be ingrained in the procedures of that department from as part and parcel of how how that department operates. So I don't know if I'm comfortable spending that kind of money on a consultant when what we need is a qualified utilities director who's going to implement all these metrics and start working on that job. If this gentleman is only here for 6 months, then is it a Band-Aid on the problem? And we're gonna have to start all over again with the new guy who we eventually hire? I hope we're transparent as we're going through this process, because we do need somebody now. But let's not pretend that this is gonna solve all the problems. We must ensure that these metrics are followed seamlessly from this consultant who comes in, is gonna run like a interim operations manager, to when we get the director who's going to implement something that should have been happening all along.
All right.
And then I will finally, excuse me, Mayor.
No, Councilwoman, hold on. I think we need to focus on what we have.
Mayor, I
ahead of
haven't,
us.
Mayor, I apologize, I haven't finished my remarks.
Yes,
I'll be done.
I will let you know about, point of order, I will let you follow. We need to focus on what we have at hand and the solution that we have at hand. This meeting was placed to offer some solutions. We can be here all day discussing this and back and forth. We have a regular council meeting when we can bring up all the statistics, all the information, everything that you have, so we can analyze it, because this is not what we're focusing right now.
May I
So
finish?
go ahead.
Thank you. And then I'll also take issue with the emergency declaration that was declared last night. And I will say, Mayor, my issue with the emergency declaration last night is that we did not have data. We knew that test results that the city utility staff, to their credit, have been running continuously during this process. It's a 24-hour cycle to find those E. coli samples and also to clear water that's being tested to see if E. coli is present. It takes some time. A decision was made Saturday that was announced at the press conference that we would be switching to, instead of nightly review of those test results, we would be going to a daily review. And it was told to us at Saturday's meeting that there would be no test results released on Sunday because of the change in the cycle. And yet, late in the evening, there was emergency declaration issued by the mayor's office, and I just feel like there wasn't a good evidence-based reason for it. And what that does to our public is that it worries them, and it provokes sometimes panic, sometimes fear, and you can see that in the social media responses that we have seen. I just feel like going
Was that
forward.
recommended by TCEQ?
Excuse me, Mayor, I'll finish and then I'll be
Yes,
happy.
I'll take the chair now. Okay, I'll take the chair.
I'd
Was that
like to-
recommended by TCEQ? That recommendation?
Point
Mayor,
of order,
Mayor,
please.
Mayor,
Mr. Nguyen,
Mayor, point of order. Mr. Nguyen, I think all the discussion happening is irrelevant to the item that's being discussed with a potential TOMA violation, if you ask me.
I would
If I
like
may,
just to finish my comments.
I know this issue is of high importance to all of us, but the agenda item is about the employment contract with this gentleman. So if you can restrict it to that point, that would allow us to stay on point and stay within our published notice.
Sure, I'll just wrap by saying I hope we learn lessons and we move forward with more responsibility to our public. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, so I'm assuming, Mr. Manager, that the consultant that's coming in would at one point work hand in hand in whoever is going to be hired to be the utilities director? Is that accurate? Or are we looking at hiring a utilities director after the 6-month period has commenced?
So, yeah, Mayor and City Council, thank you for that question, because I think that'll kind of close out the rest of what we're doing. Please note that we were looking at bringing in this interim executive director while we still had a director. So the idea was to overlay over the top of where our director was at. At this point in time, the intent is to open up for the SGR contract will also seek a national search for a utility director for our facility as well too. And so the goal is to begin those processes in together and have them roll together, because the whole, when the interim director is completed with all of this work, there is a baton passing that there's not this lag from between waiting 6 months and then going and looking, because our utility department is supposed to have 6 engineers. We're at 1.5 right now. That's part of the issue that we have. And so our utility director was serving as a engineer as well. So the whole intent is to lay this on top of it and not wait, not wait any longer than we have to, get the process started to fill the slot in a permanent basis, but to also use this expertise out here in order to make sure that we are moving forward in the right direction. So.
May I redirect, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
So could you provide us then with a timeline as to what exactly the consultant will be reviewing? And within that timeline, indicate when you plan on hiring a director that would be working hand in hand with this consultant to ensure that we have continuity of the
Yes, sir.
metrics that will be put in place?
So the intent right now is that we get the interim in there, and we really wanted, rather than to get a lot of other noise around his look at the facility, we're gonna run at least the first 30 days without putting out for a utility director. We actually believe, and so just so you know, this gentleman that we are looking at actually went into the city of Amarillo and did something very similar for them. So this individual has done this before in the state of Texas. And so the intent is to spend about the first 30 days assessing that. We believe that we will have a very good indication within the first 90 days as to what we need to be doing. The extra three months on the back end of the 90 days is in order to give us the time to go out and to find and to interview and to analyze who would be that permanent replacement within that. So 30 days, you can expect that we won't be going out there to do that. We will start in the 60-day window, and we will run out as long as it takes, depending on how the conversation goes. It could go up all the way to the 6 month, but I think we'll be able to do this in at least 3 to 4 months.
Mayor, one more thing. We all, and I'm sure everyone on this council, including the mayor, maybe even the city manager and the assistants, I'm sure received information and possible inquiries, right, from different people, from our constituents, from engineers, from even people from out of town that heard about our situation and understand what's happening. And one of them that really caught my eye, which I think is important to have this consultant, should this item pass, look into, was requesting utilities to provide documents and a presentation on the backflow testing program. All commercial accounts and irrigation accounts are required to have backflow prevention, right? Who manages the testing process? How many backflow preventers are installed? What are the ages of each one of them? How often are they tested? Who monitors the process to ensure compliance? Why would we want to see this? And I'm being told that because a broken backflow preventer could be the source of water contamination. And this was sent to me by someone that apparently knows water systems, has worked on them in the engineering side, and they saw this in other cities, and that was one of the causes. We're being told that that's probably one of the also reasons why we had that bacteria in some of the areas pop up not once but twice, and at one point 11 times. So if they could take note of that, if this item passes, it would be helpful to have that report come back.
Mayor and City Council, and that is part of our metric system within the operational and the infrastructure, is to make sure that we are focused on the right things and within the right system. So,
All right. Okay, we needed to go to general council discussions and presentations. Do we have anything other things?
Well, we have a motion and a second to vote, Mayor, on this.
Let's vote on that first.
Councilmember Cigarro.
Okay, go ahead.
Was this gentleman, when you mentioned Amarillo, did they have a boil water notice with that was contaminated by E. coli?
Mayor and City Council member, I am not sure if it was directed strictly to a boil water notice, but generally when they bring in these types of interims and everything, there are challenges within the system. And so you bring in somebody that can kind of help with that. It's the same thing of bringing in an expert of this caliber as hiring an outside firm to do this review as well too. So those were the choices that we looked at.
How is one person able to execute all these requirements that you're asking of them? I mean, this is gonna take a team of experts, a team of professionals, engineers that have the tools to be able to trust but verify. which is something that I've been asking you for over the past year, is to trust but verify within our own department, and here we are again.
The Mayor, and if I could, really quickly, so there is a difference within this process. We are actually hiring essentially a contract employee to do the work. If we go out and hire a firm, we could do that, but you now get into the RFP process, you now get into the full analysis as to whether or not it is. You will be tied into a low bid process, a lowest responsive bidder. And so the intent was to put an individual in there that could help make the decisions on a day-to-day basis rather than utilize a structure of that. I agree with you that the more minds that come into this, and our current contractors will remain, involved because they're involved in a lot of those. We can incorporate more contracted help as well too through the engineering firms. But if we don't have that day-to-day operational thing, I think we're missing a part of that. So I think that's the difference between the strategies of what you're describing right there.
It just feels like we're all taking a back seat to this crisis, and not even, this agenda doesn't even address the E. coli crisis itself, which is really disappointing.
I will say that we are going to be leaning on our 600 employees that we have out there as well too. I mean, I truly believe that we have some excellent operators out of there that for one reason or another have not been able to have an impact on the operation of our department, and we will be working on rebuilding all that from the ground up. So,
but just as mentioned by my colleagues, this shouldn't be we've been in the wake-up call for over 4 years, and there has been a lack of assessing the department and who's trained, who actually understands the work that they're doing. I can guarantee you that we don't have an updated GIS system with the maps that have been provided. Are the employees out in the field trained in this? Are they syncing the information? No, this shouldn't have taken this long to understand what is even happening. And I feel like I myself feel as if this hasn't been addressed, and there is a extreme confusion across the community and within our own city.
Mayor, I have a question.
I think, anybody else?
I just have two follow-up questions.
Okay, go ahead.
How quickly are we going to be working on getting the 6 engineers that we need in that department? Will they be able to hire? Are we going to be able to hire more engineers during this time? And will you come to us, with budget amendments to fill those if needed?
well, and Mayor and Council, we have all those positions are there. The engineering industry is a very difficult industry in order to find people that are, one, qualified, and two, want to come to Laredo to work for it. I think that's been the challenge that we've had. The conversation we've had within the utility is that bring in more consultants until we get back to our standard, because having them on hand they're a lot more in tune to what the systems are. We had the same concern over on the city engineering side. We were not able to bring in them until Mr. Chavez made some adjustments within the system and found a way to, for lack of a better way, grow our own as well too. So we have engineering techs that we are training up of our own, and we're investing in those employees as well too. We will have to do something similar to the utility side. But as far as action from the council on any of that, we will come to you if we need budget, if we need any of that help.
For example, salary.
We believe it's already there. We have to go find the people, and as the metaphor is that if we can get them to drink the water, they'll stay, right?
Yeah. Well, the salaries, though, that's the issue. I know Mr. Chavez made sure to raise the salaries in the engineering department. That's how we're able to hire more in the engineering department, but not yet in the utilities department. And if you need help from us to pay engineers the salary they need to be paid to be competitive with the private sector, because we're never gonna pay as much as the private sector, but for any engineers watching, you get public service loan forgiveness if you work for the city for 10 years. So, just so you know. That's a thing that the private sector can't offer. So, we have to just be doing, more, creative ways of recruiting and being competitive with the salaries. And the last thing, you may not have the answer off the top of your head, but out of the 3,000 water bill notices that Texas had last year, I'd like to know how many were related to E. coli versus other, and try to find somewhat of a breakdown of how common this type of issue is, and that's something I'd like it in the future to have that.
Yes, sir, and Mayor and City Council, that is the intent of our report, is to provide that information. I will tell you that every one of the tests are taken seriously by our people, and each one of them have been cleared by the laws of Texas, by the EPA and the Clean Water Act. As far as them being wake-up calls, I think they are indicative, but if it is an illegal connection and we fix that illegal connection, another illegal connection can contribute to that. So there's a lot of work and a lot of science that goes into that, but that would be our intent, is to provide that information.
All right,
Mayor,
go ahead.
I hope, Mr. Neb, you can assure this council that this will be an item put on the agenda by management for a thorough discussion next week, so that we won't be bringing our own agenda items so that we can discuss this. Because this, as was previously said, this meeting is not set up to deal with the emergency that's going on. My second question is about the contractors that we have, and you said that this consultant coming in will be working with the existing contractor group that we have on I don't know, contracted, that's working now with our utilities department. Can we ask why these performance measures weren't being overseen by that group? And why we need a consultant to come in and layer over them?
Yeah, and Mayor and Council, yes, the intent, and if you look at what the metric titles are, right, and I think everybody has a copy of what's underneath that as well too. Of course, we are evaluating all of our contractors as well too. We want to make sure that the contractors are focused on what their jobs are when we hire them and everything as well too. So that is all part of this whole system within that. So yes, we will. That is all part of the strategy of how to walk through this thing. But in my mind, I think this will be a good thing for the city. It is my recommendation that you allow us to move forward in this way.
All right, we'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Mayor, may I would like to move that we do have have an emergency meeting this week after this to discuss just that. I don't think that this should be tied into our regular meeting on Monday.
Second.
Mayor, point of order.
Did you make a motion?
Why, yes.
It's been seconded.
Motion
But as a point of order, I think it's an illegal motion. There's no item that would allow us to do that. But they can petition you to call a special meeting.
The special meeting, I'm sorry, if I may, the special meeting will have to be called by the mayor, and there would need to be 72 hours notice for the agenda item.
And there's a number of council members that could call a meeting.
Or 3 council members could petition the mayor to call a meeting.
Yes.
Or 4.
But it has to be done through the mayor's office, yes.
I think 4.
All right.
That's close to.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to take together consent item number 2 and item number 1 from 3A.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, for item 2 and combined with 3A1, I'd like to thank the council for allowing me to serve on the Webb County Appraisal Board. Although it's been it's been a learning experience and a very interesting journey, especially with the change that administrative board has seen with now having actual elected people represent the constituency on that board. And contrary to what the people might think, that when we serve on the Appraisal District Board of Directors, that we have a say-so as to the valuations of the properties or what the tax rates are. It's not that. It's contrary to that. It focuses on the operations of the appraisal district, and the Appraisal Review Board is actually the board that reviews any property valuations. But with that being said, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that the City of Laredo nominate Councilmember Gilbert Gonzalez as the council person to represent the City of Laredo, and that we cast all 1,039 votes for the election of him to represent the city.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you. Item two. Roman numeral 7. Discussion with possible action on providing a goodwill rebate to the public for the water bill and any matters related to thereto. Mr. Ned?
Yes, sir. Mayor, City Council, as you had heard through a couple of the public notices and hearings and everything, the impact to our community has been significant. And the mayor expressed to the crew, the staff, and everybody, and myself, in order to try to find a way to help all of those negatively impacted by this. What I'm presenting to you and within the information, and we have had handouts that have an updated format of what it is. Please keep in mind it's a broad level of that. Yes, sir.
Mayor, point one, did we miss over some public comments during specific items?
They did not specify which one, so I'm assuming it was the rebate.
I know there's several people that opted to speak.
They were opted to speak, yeah.
I don't know if we skipped over them.
Some say number 7, but there's no number 7 on the agenda. And I assumed it was for the next two items, the rebates and the.
Yeah.
Mayor, there are some people that want to speak.
For
That's
this item?
yeah.
Yeah, it's for this one.
Oh.
Yeah. Should we hear from them first, Mayor?
You want to let him go?
I'm happy to step out of the way so you can
Okay.
hear from the public first. Yes.
All right.
Amanda Martinez.
Amanda Martinez.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Martinez, could you go to the microphone?
Right here. Is this fine?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fellow councilmen, your honorable mayor. This will be a short and simple statement. Well, I am definitely for the motion. A lot of businesses were very much affected by this inconvenience of a water boil. Hence us, the people, citizens of Laredo, taking time to boil the water to make coffee, brush our teeth, rinse our vegetables, our fruits, etc. I understand that you inherited this problem from previous councils, but hopefully this issue is resolved and resolved quickly. Let's give us the quality of life that we are paying for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Alicia Macias. Yeah. Alicia Macias, not here. Okay. Gabriela Tolentino. Not here. Luz María Valdez. Not here. Hilda Rodríguez. Not here. Olivia Martinez.
She doesn't want to speak.
No.
She had said no.
No, okay. Valentín Ruiz.
Could you please put this picture up in the slideshow, please? Before I start. You're working on it? Yes. Okay. Valentin Ruiz, veteran, taxpayer, and advocate. First of all, I would like to give thanks and praise to Tyler King, Alisa Cigarroa, and Melissa Cigarroa for keeping us informed about the water crisis and adding that we need to take this crisis seriously, to take all precautions seriously, and also for standing against the 40% raise for council members. I am extremely upset. This city has known that they have detected E. coli in our tap water since 2022. We only know this from a recent whistleblower. We all know our former president made stupid decisions that caused loss of life and placed people in danger. Mayor, you pulled a Trump on us when you drank water from a water fountain, clearly putting people that trust you and follow you at risk at contracting E. coli or other bacteria like the brain-eating amoeba that can also grow on contaminated tap water by using the neti pots to flush their nose. My tia Santos has a weak immune system. My buddy Joey, Luis Diaz de Leon's wife, a World War II veteran, is no longer with us, and she has been battling E. coli for 8 months already. 8 months. And it's hard to keep smiling here when this clearly pisses me off, Mayor. This goodwill rebate, in my humble opinion, is a joke. What the city should do is refund the water bills from September and October for lack of safe drinking water for the people of Laredo. The proposed fund to assist businesses that were financially impacted, they qualify, is a joke as well. In my humble opinion, they should all qualify. Their service contract for Mr. Walter Buzz is only part-time solution. We need somebody full-time working to take care of our ongoing water crisis. I'm extremely upset with you, Mayor, by putting up for a vote to cut our time in agenda item 7, second by Vanessa Perez. Both of you broke your oath to us, the people. Thank you, Melissa, Alyssa, and I believe Tyler as well for voting against it. To the rest of you, voted to cut our time or did not vote. When you don't vote, it means yes. And I want the people to know that. Shame on you for limiting our time of free speech. Let me remind you that you swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution to us, the people. You broke that oath by limiting our time to speak. What is it? You don't have time to listen to we, the people? So then why the hell do you run for re-election? All of you that voted for cutting our time should step down now. We need leaders that are willing to listen to our needs, suggestions, and criticism as well. I want the people to remember that they stopped city business for a month for campaigning purposes after they gave themselves a 40% raise. It's time we, the people, voted them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Kayla Sanchez? Not here. No, she's coming. No.
Buenas tardes. Kayla Sánchez, veteran taxpayer for the record. Primero que nada, quiero agradecer a Ms. Alisa Cigarroa, Ms. Melissa Cigarroa y Mr. Tyler King por mantenernos informados sobre la crisis del agua en nuestra ciudad y agregando que debemos tomar esta crisis muy seriamente y tomar todas las medidas de precaución muy seriamente. Y también por mantenernos en contra del aumento del 40% para los miembros del Consejo. Estoy extremadamente molesta que la ciudad sabía y habían detectado el E. coli en nuestra agua desde el año 2022 y lo sabemos por un denunciante. Todos sabemos que nuestro presidente anterior, Trump, hizo las decisiones muy tontas que causaron pérdidas de vidas y poniendo a otros en riesgo y en peligro. Usted, Mr. Mayor, se tiró un Trump cuando tomó agua de una fuente poniendo en riesgo a las personas que lo siguen. De buenas que no soy una de ellas, poniéndolos en riesgo de contraer E. coli y otras bacterias como la amiba que come el cerebro. El título de doctor, señor, le queda chico. Conozco a la esposa de Luis Díaz de León, un veterano de la Segunda Guerra Mundial, que ya no está con nosotros. Y primero que, una señora de 98 años que no ha podido vencer el E. coli en estos meses. ¿Qué tal si fuera su abuela, su mamá? Quiero que los ciudadanos recuerden que pusieron en pausa todo lo que tiene que ver con la ciudad por todo un mes por las campañas de elección, después de que se diera un aumento del 40%. ¿De verdad creen que se merecen ese aumento? Claro que no. Ahora están subiendo el precio del agua. Mejor deberían regresar el dinero de todos los ciudadanos de los biles en septiembre y en octubre. En otro punto, quieren contratar al director Walter Buzz Fishker, que al parecer y por medio de hechos es un individuo con mucha sabiduría profesional, pero contratarlo de medio tiempo no solucionará nuestra crisis de agua. Al contratarlo medio tiempo me dice a mí que no están tomando esta crisis seriamente. Al contrario, al contratarlo medio tiempo, es solo para mantenernos callados. Un estate quieto. Al inicio de esta junta, luego se le ocurrió hacer un voto para que solamente se nos dieran 3 minutos y luego interrumpe a nuestros ciudadanos cuando están aquí hablando. Y la señora Vanessa Pérez, claro, le da segunda. Ustedes están ahí para servirnos, para servir al público, no para callarnos y aplastarnos. Si no están dispuestos a escuchar nuestras plegarias, les sugiero que mejor se dejen su puesto para dejar espacio para alguien que sí sea un buen líder y que sí esté dispuesto a escuchar nuestras necesidades, sugerencias y críticas constructivas. Gracias.
Okay. All right. Nobody else? All right. Okay. The purpose of this agenda was to address several of the comments and requests I have been receiving for the community about the water distribution sites regarding a discount on their water bill. I do believe this is a justified request. I also want the public to know that this is a gesture of goodwill and the beginning of what the city will be doing to regain trust. Besides the most important task, which is dealing with the challenges with our water infrastructure. So we have this. Do we have a motion yet?
Then we'll hear the presentation.
Oh, go ahead, presentation.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Yeah, and I'll run through the program really quickly. I will, I think based upon some of the conversation, based upon your statements as well too, do understand that we utilize water for drinking, we utilize water for laundry, we utilize water for irrigation, we utilize water for a lot of different things. And so, so the nature of what we're working on, this is a boil water notice that identifies that it's the drinking water portion of this. So as we establish this, this is just a place to start. It now becomes your responsibility as elected officials in order to how to move this thing forward. And I believe that that's where we're at with this. And we've put this together. I would call it a very broad level structure. We've tried to keep it as simple as possible, keep all the strings off of it that we can to identify what's out there. This recognizes the goodwill of how our people were impacted during this 10-day boil water notice, as well as their help that they helped us with yesterday, and the rest of the city will help us with today with flushing of our system. That work that they've done privately on their property, they flushed their system, they are going to get a bill for the water that they flushed for water and wastewater side. So this is more than just on one side of the issue for the goodwill. I want to make sure everybody understands that, because we asked our people to help. When we do our testing does happen in some of the houses that are out there. So if it's not a high user, there can be contamination within the system, and we want to make sure that all the way out through the water it's all good quality. So really quickly, as we put this together, this is to recognize and acknowledge the increased water usage for the drinking and flushing during the advisory period. The funding for this will be coming from water availability funds, non-restricted utility funds, and we will look at the ARPA money as to whether or not we can utilize those funds as well too. Those were the federal funds that we received for COVID, but we believe that we're still within that window that we might be able to work it that way. I do want to stress with everybody, because as we're coming out of this thing, I will be requesting from all of you more assistance to get more work done. We did $94 million in this year's budget. We need to get into our distribution farther. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the utility operating funds will not be used to ensure the resources remain for those ongoing infrastructure projects. We cannot utilize that money, or at least I would not recommend the use of that money, because we need to stay focused on the long-term abilities of our facility. The rebate structure at this point in time, the residential customers, the rebate is 5% of the base water and sewer rate on the essentially the drinking water meter. So if you have 2 meters, like at my home, I have a drinking water meter, I have a use meter, and then I have an irrigation meter. The irrigation meter is a separate entity. So this is a 5% on the base water, and we are recognizing the sewer because our sewer rates are billed off the water rate or the water usage. So we've identified both. We're looking at a 5% for our residential customers. We have approximately 74,000 customers of residential. On the commercial side, we are looking at a 4% base water and sewer rate, and our industrial customers are a 3% base water and sewer rate. And those differences are, of course, the impact of the ability for businesses to do other abilities for drinking water. Our utility customers don't have as much drinking water, it's more of manufacturing in the process. So that's why the percentages are different. That's why we're focused on our residential more than the other ones. The total program cost, based upon what we think our use is out there as a starting point, is $820,000. And the rebate will be funded. I mentioned the water availability, the non-restricted utility funds, and the ARPA funds. And that's just to make sure that our utility funds remain for the critical system improvements. So with this, with the total program cost of $820,000, we'll use those different funds, and the program reflects the city's commitment to helping support our residents. I don't think I have another slide in here, so this is in the thing. The only other thing with the program I want to make sure I cover is that this is an automatic adjustment within there. It'll equate to either the percentage basis, or I think our system right now has to use a number, but I want to utilize the percentages in order to talk about it, and then we'll make the adjustments behind the scenes in order to make it all work. But this is automatic.
So, if we go back to slide 3, Mr. Depp.
Yes, sir.
You're proposing a 5% rebate for residential customers. And if we were to use $50 as an average, right, for a water bill, we're looking at giving a $2.50 rebate?
The 5%.
So I think that is, might as well not give anything at that point, is my opinion, right? And I know that it's I'm sure y'all use the formula depending on the days and whatnot, but if we're looking at, how many days were we underwater boil?
10 days.
10 days, so that's at least 1/3 of the month, right? And I'm sure y'all are utilizing and trying to remove, well, if water was still used to flush toilets, you didn't have to boil that water, it wasn't inconvenience or whatever the case may be. But I think the bigger picture is the inconvenience period, right, that I think we need to look at.
Yes, sir.
So I'd hope that we either get another recommendation or go through an exercise to what we think that should be. My bigger concern, though, is how does giving any sort of rebate, whether it's a 5%, a 1%, a 30%, 50%, whatever the case may be, the what was the 800,000, let's just say $1 million financial impact, does that affect our bond ratings for utility bonds in any way, shape, or form?
Mayor and City Council, thank you for that question. That was part of our concern, and that is part of the reason why we want to remain as far away from our utility money to that level. If we're using non-restricted funds, it won't have the same impact. If we're using the water availability funds, it won't have the same impact. But as we look at our bond rating and everything else, if we're trying to balance through that whole question of saying we'll utilize these monies. And that's why the ARPA money makes some sense with it, because it is not directly correlated to the utility. And so as we go out there, and we had that conversation with our financial advisor as well too. That is a caution for this. I think the challenge we have, and there's a lot of different ways out there. I believe that we have some good examples within San Antonio, within Austin, within Houston, that have had similar boil water notices and have done something of this nature as well too. The challenge is always, what is that value within that structure? And I think that's where the number, again, I believe there's room for adjustments, but I would recommend that whatever we provide, it stay focused on the 10-day period over a 30-day bill system, and it was only on a portion of that bill. And so the water could still be utilized, I mean, and in the home and everything, so within that process. And so answering that question on the bond level, yes, there was a concern about that, but we believe that by utilizing other funds that are not directly related to the utility operations, that makes the significant difference when we talk to our bond people about what we're doing.
So is it, I guess, understood that we're gonna use another fund to pay for whatever rebate rebate we're giving, that way the utility fund is not impacted, or we are going to make a draw from the utility fund?
Well, all the way through this, Mayor and City Council, all the way through this thing, all of the emergency response will be charged back to the utility as well too. And so this is just kind of that end result of what we've just went through in the last 10 days. So it will utilize essentially, and the best way I could do it, and that's why I wrote it in here, was non-restricted utility money. Outside of the ARPA money. But now that ARPA money has been dedicated to the utility too, so you can call it the same kind of money. It's coming out of the utility one way or another. It's just we're separating what the purpose was, because this is money that was non-restricted or for water availability. In my mind, and in the conversation we've had with finance and everybody, is that that's the separation of what those funds are.
As it pertains to multifamily complexes and those landlords that pay their water bill for their tenants, are those considered residential customers or commercial?
I would say in most of those cases, those will be commercial accounts because they have to register that as a business expense. So it really depends on how they set it up.
Because at the end of the day, the flushing of the lines is still gonna be the 15 minutes times 6 apartments, 8 apartments, a fourplex or a duplex. So the flushing is still considered.
Yeah, and I would just add on top of that, please understand that this is one of the last 2 items on the agenda. The next one is to talk about business assistance. So all of these, if you are identified as a commercial type business and everything, this is the work that we've been doing with the Chamber of Commerce. This is the work we've been doing with the LEDC, is to establish that impact to those businesses. So I think we've got it all covered based upon where I understand where you're at and everything, but I think we've got it all covered between the 2 programs if they're both agreed with you as to how to do them.
So Mayor, in doing my math here, if we were to go based on the 10 days, we're looking at a 33% discount. On average, we're probably looking at a financial impact of anywhere between 5.28 million to about $7 million. If we were to do a 33% discount across the board, because your 800,000 is in a 3, 4, 5 tier structure, but if we were to do a 33% across the board, then we're probably looking at, I don't know if our budget person's here, but I'm thinking about 7 million. 5.28 to about 7.5. And if we were to go that route, what would be the implication?
It would have a larger impact on the funding. In my mind, I think this is where we were at with the conversation for all of you, is to determine exactly how to help. I do believe that our commercial customers, based upon all the other information, I think we're just talking really about the residential customers right now and that impact on that as well too. So based upon what you decide today is how we will build the program. And I believe that we can make the adjustment. I guess my only other part is that it's not really just 30% of the budget because of what that fund is, but I think we have to cover enough of that cost. So I appreciate where you're at with saying maybe that's not enough. But I think we can find a way to balance out those numbers, just depending on what you believe is appropriate in order to cover that. Please note that I said at the beginning as well too, this is just a start. If we step into this thing and we find that we need to do additional help and everything, all it takes is another conversation with all of you in order to determine that as well too. The whole goal is to kind of build through this thing and try to find that resolution. So I guess I don't know if I answered that question that you asked specifically, but we can. There is room if you wish to advance additional percentages. We can make it work.
Yes, go ahead.
So since we're still a little unclear on exactly the impact, where the money is exactly coming from, what the impact that would be, for example, if we took ARPA funding, understanding what that would mean to various departments, just should we, I'm kind of posing the question of deciding on this for next Monday's meeting to have a little more, I know it's going to be a packed meeting, but to have a little more information before we, or is there, you want us to give you some guidance or?
If you wish to think about this a little bit, because again, during an emergency, this stuff materializes fairly quickly. and we put it together as best we can. If you want to have additional questions posed to us, we can do additional analysis. So I think as we're walking out of this together and within the program, I want to make sure that we understand as well too. Those that were on the Jefferson water plant were on the boil notice at least 2 additional days, right? Because we were able to remove the El Pico. So the intent of this program was to start essentially on the southern end of our city and work our way up through that process as to go through that. If you want time to think about it, it's not going to hurt anything other than the billing cycle. What we will do is, again, we will look at a 3-month average within their bill, and we'll take that average as the number. It's not going to be just this month. It's not going to be last month. It's going to be a 3-month average within the cycle because we want to hit it as close as we can to what that individual's use is. But if you would like a little bit more time, I've laid it on your table. I've laid it in your lap now. If you wanted to look at this, we have time, I would say, with our utility department and everything, because we'll keep tightening those things up. As like, man, we're going to have to convert from a percentage to a fee amount in some level, in some way. It's just that we have to make sure that we recognize the difference between somebody that uses 3,000 gallons a month to somebody that uses 7,000 or 10,000 gallons. So that's the only process that we want. So I'm happy to take this any direction. If you want to think about it a little bit farther, we can put it back on for Monday.
Could we have a flat fee option versus percentage option too?
No, I stayed with the percentages intentionally because it's easier to figure out based upon the use. Just exactly what Councilmember Torres did is that, well, it's a 10-day out of a 30-day window, and so these percentages work that way. So I stayed with the percentages. What will happen is, based upon the action of the council, we'll essentially do a conversion. And we'll determine exactly where that's at, or we're hoping that we can get the software to actually pick up on a percentage because that'll do the math for us as well too.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Neff, for that. And I think one of the concerns here and the alarming thing for the public is that a lot of the problem is stemming from illegal connections, right? So we want to hold people accountable for contributing to this problem. And of course, we need to fix our systems and make sure that we add preventive measures and not allow people to hook up illegally and things like that. But what are we doing to hold those people accountable? Because if we're talking about a rebate for everybody else that had to deal with the inconvenience, it makes sense that the people that were having these illegal connections should be contributing, and we should be fining them or penalizing them, because we have to let the public understand that this is a serious issue. You know, take the situation in Mines Road where you had the water softener, illegally. We need to figure out, was that a vendor that sells these systems, that's going around the city selling these systems and hooking them up illegally because they don't have the proper permits? Are they overstepping our permit process because they don't want to pay for the permits, and now everybody else has to pay because they didn't want to pay? This is a serious issue that these people need to be held accountable for. And another thing too is like, when you talk about $7-8 million, like the thing that comes to mind right now is, take for example, like the Mercy Hospital, the old Mercy Hospital. They owe us over $12 million in fines for the nuisance that they've created by not dealing with that building that has contributed to a lot of public concern. So is there any way that we can, maybe look at some of these outstanding debts that are owed to us and increase enforcement so that we can take that money and give it back to the people that had to suffer because of this notice?
Yeah, council member and mayor and council, I'll only go into the bits and pieces of this because that's a great conversation as we're going forward. But I do want to address, because the mayor and I have had this conversation as it relates to the illegal connections. So in our minds, the property owners should receive, for lack of a better way of word, is amnesty of this system. If they will at least let us know if the work has been done in their property and everything. We believe that exactly how you're saying, council member, is that if a contractor has come in and they've not pulled the right permits, if the contractor's come in and not allowed us to do an inspection of that process, I don't have a lot of sympathy for those individuals for jeopardizing our entire system for that. But I don't want to hold Mrs. Smith responsible because she trusted that professional to do the work to the letter of the law. And so the mayor and I had been having these conversations throughout this emergency as to how do we put that responsibility out there, but still protect our people, our citizens. And so we are working on that, and that is part of that. The conversation about the interlocking of different debt that we have out there with different properties and everything, that'll be more of a legal question that we'll have to walk through whether or not we can marry those across or not in that process. But we're happy to look at that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't wanna overstep what's on the agenda, but the reason I'm bringing it up is that there's opportunities for us to find some money so that we can provide more than just what's proposed as a relief.
Yeah. And Mayor and Council, I would just leave it at, it's whether or not we believe that a goodwill rebate should be provided. They did, everybody was given the opportunity, and I don't want to go and look and see who flushed and who didn't. I mean, and if anybody still wishes to flush their system, please do so, because that's okay. But I also want to make sure that we take care of the issue. We take care of the issue now. We'll work it out at the other end, and I believe that what we did learn out of this entire thing is that there are a lot of ways to do our jobs even better, and that's where we're going to be focusing and making sure that all of our inspections and our standards and all of that are met to that nth degree.
Mayor,
All right, go ahead.
Well, I think, although I think what Councilmember Perez brings up kind of delves into something that's off this agenda about trying to identify the sources. We can talk about, do we have enough inspectors at our plant? There are a lot of different issues to try to drill down as to why this happened. And I do believe that we need an emergency meeting to deal specifically with this crisis, because this is not that emergency meeting. For our questions to be answered and the public who has been sharing their deep concerns with us this entire time, for us to get good information to be able to share with them. So, Mayor, I don't know if we can do this, but I would like to have this emergency meeting called. I think we need 72 hours. It can be done on Thursday, and that way we have a forum and make it sometime when, we can reach the public so we can discuss these issues. We all have similar questions. Illegal connections, why was the E. coli notices ignored? What were the steps that perhaps were taken? What impact will be to the utilities department when you're talking about the money? When you talk about diverting money from our utilities department, it's a huge issue because we already know that ARPA funding is the excess that we have now that hasn't been spent yet is dedicated to buying the chemicals that are needed to ensure that the water quality at our water treatment plants continues to be maintained to that high TCEQ standard. So messing with the money impacts the operations of utilities. And if this is not the forum, then please give us a forum to be able to do that.
Mayor and Council, and I do want to, and I apologize, but I do want to address one thing. There has been no test ignored by the city. Every test has been resolved to the letter of the law. Please, I just want to make sure I say that portion of it. Also note, within the budget, the city council approved within the budget, I think 14 additional code enforcement inspectors. This is a conversation that we've been having all the way through there. We've been moving the needle. We've been changing the structure on that. Now, the request for an emergency meeting, I'll leave it up to all of you. We'll be there. We'll be there to help and all of that. But I just want to make sure I shared with that. But I truly believe, my recommendation is that we provide at least the goodwill rebate to whatever level that you choose to do that, especially because our public helped us through this as well too by flushing within their own system.
Mayor, I would like to call for that emergency meeting through motion and have it included in that meeting, not only more information about the sources and what happened, but also to include the conversation about the rebate.
I'll take it under advisement and discuss it with management.
When wants to speak?
Oh, go ahead.
Just so you know, there's no mechanism to call for emergency meeting through motion. It's just the mayor or through petition from 4 council members, in
Could you-
writing to Secretary,
Could
City
you
Secretary.
clarify, Mr. Nguyen, what that petition would look like?
Just a request for, like you were asking, but it can't be done through a motion, unfortunately. Just 4 council members may petition for a
And we
special
do
meeting.
that through approaching the city secretary?
Just city secretary or the mayor can do it, and we still need to provide the 72 hours, notice under.
We can get the letter of that, but generally, we've done that through an email or to the mayor and say, we want to call this, and if it all meets all the conditions, then we move forward with the city secretary.
4 council members, yes.
Thank you for that clarification. And I did not mean, Mr. Neb, to imply that the ignoring of the E. coli samples was intentional. It seems like something is broken down in our processes.
Yes, ma'am. And I just wanted to make sure I said that because I do know as we've went through every one of those conversations, we've not found anything that says that the city ignored it. It's whether or not it was interpreted to the level of what we want it to.
Mr. Mayor, may I redirect?
Yes, go ahead.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to have the city manager and management come back with 3 options. A 10% rebate for all residential customers, a 25% rebate, and a 33% rebate to see what those numbers look like and have a presentation put together for us to make a decision on Monday.
All right, motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now the next number, Mr. Neb, discussion with possible action with approval. No, it's discussion with possible action and the creation of a fund to assist businesses that were financially impacted by the boil water notice and any matters related thereto. I have spoken to SBA, White House, and our petition will qualify according to what situation we have here. With the disaster relief director, and now we need to work with the business and address their economic losses. So it will qualify.
Yes, sir, Mayor, and that was excellent news to know, and that's how we've kind of built the program. We were hoping for some of that good news as well, too, so thank you for your work on that. Again, this is the other piece of this thing, and as the Chamber of Commerce had alluded to earlier, and Ms. Castillo with our Economic Development Department, we have over 78% of our businesses that have been responding to the survey have been impacted. The estimates are somewhere around $500 to $1,000 for the period of time. So there is something that we can do. So this is, and this kind of piggybacks on exactly what's happening. We want to put this together. Most of the ones that are responding are the smaller businesses of it. They have 15 employees or less. The larger ones usually have the resources in place to manage a lot of this, and so it is our mom and pops. It is our smaller businesses that are involved in that. So the objective, of course, of the Business Assistance Fund is to provide financial relief. The structure with this, and it matches up to all the different types of grant funds that we've done in the past as well too, but it'll be for small and medium businesses impacted by this, particularly those that are relying on continuous water services. Our restaurants are the ones that are hardest hit because of their products, and we can get into all the different other ones that need really clean water. So it is open to all of the businesses within the affected areas, which is our city, and we just need some information from them for that. What we are proposing at this time is a $500,000 to be allocated from the city's remaining ARPA funds or the water adjustment funds. I didn't update this one based upon the other one, but the water fees and the non-allocated money plus the ARPA money. We believe that the grant program actually fits the ARPA funds very well. We will be pursuing an additional kind of a match of the $500,000 through state and federal funding, whether it be the Texas Micro Business Disaster Recovery Program, the Community Development Financial Institutes, and we want to bring that amount up to at least $1 million for that impact within that structure. If you took it really, if all the commercial businesses, we have about 9,000 commercial businesses in the city, you're looking at right at that $1 million mark. And so we'll be able to clear that up a little bit farther. So the utility funds allocation, again, we want to keep on the utility work. I won't go into that again. But the program administration, it'll be done through our economic development department. And they'll work closely with the utility departments so that we can ensure that all the recovery efforts, all the impact are aligned with our improvements. And just a note, and you're all well aware of this, that the ARPA guidelines say we have to obligate the funds by December 31 of 2024, and we have to have all the expenditures done by 2026. We will do, within this program, we'll do quarterly progress reports from the Economic Development Department, and they'll be submitted to the City Council to make sure that we have the transparency of this program. At that point in time, it is our recommendation that we allocate at least the $500,000, and then we're going to pursue up to $1 million in order to provide that support. Again, just like I stated in the other program, this is the start. If we find that the impact is greater, if we find something that we did not think was going to happen, we will be coming back to you in order to seek additional assistance.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the $500,000 allocation and instructing management to come back on a maybe between now and December, every meeting giving us a report as to how much has been expended and how much is potentially needed so that we can look into allocating that. That's my motion, but I have a follow-up.
Second. Motion second.
My follow-up to this is, I'm assuming that this isn't going to be like the water rebate, where it'd be a blanket check to businesses, right? I would hope that there'd be criteria. Obviously, your coffee shops and your places that had to completely shut down, right, were more impacted than maybe a business that was able to provide canned drinks or to their clients, right? So obviously some had a much more severe impact than others, but at the same time, those that found alternatives to continue paying for their employees and keeping business going should have some sort of compensation, maybe between averaging the losses of a soft drink versus a canned drink and the investment and the profit margin that was potentially lost, right? Multiplied times whatever it is you all would require, I'm assuming some sort of receipts or invoices or whatever the case may be. On average, based on, since you've made a point to 9,000 businesses is what you mentioned were potentially impacted, what would be the average that you would think these businesses would receive
One of
as a
the
range?
really rough estimates that we were just talking about before this meeting started, because the information is still flowing in. We're estimating, because most of these are the smaller type businesses, anywhere between $500 impact over the $10 to $1,000 impact. And that's just based upon the rough estimates. But Council Member, I think exactly where you're going is where we're trying to head as well too. The challenge we have with any kind of a grant program, they have to provide some evidence in order to have us help them. And so that'll be part of that process. I think as you get into those mid-sized businesses, I expect that the impact, exactly what you're saying, is that we kept the employees on. We didn't want to negatively impact them. That $500 and $1,000 grows very quickly. But that was just our rough information. Please note that we've been working on this thing for the last 3 days, and the information is going to keep getting better. But we believe this is a great start.
All right. Go ahead.
You know, I'm not trying to raise alarm, but because of the way the boil water notice has been lifted and the mitigation efforts, the point source, if I understand correctly, was never identified. And so it could happen again. And you're setting up a program that's going to take funding, and it looks like it's going to drain funding from the utility department at a time when we need to increase funding to the utility department so we can make sure that it doesn't happen again. I mean, it's just kind of a chicken and an egg thing. And I am no way suggesting that businesses do not deserve some type of mitigation, but you need to look at a sustainability mechanism or some fund that we can start building in case it does happen again in the future. Because until we find that point source, it's going to be out there, right? And we just need to be planning not just for how we help people through this difficult time now, but planning for a fund for the future.
Thank you.
All right. Any motions?
We have the motion.
I have a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Motion to adjourn, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes, meeting adjourned.